if you're Hassan Whiteside, you may not care what fans think. You may not care because you might be cashing those checks. But you better believe they're going to hear what Charles and Shaq said at halftime. So he's going to hear it, and he had to respond to that. And I hope that gets his attention. I hope that we look back and say that was a spark. Now, he's been all right in the fourth quarter tonight in this game, but...
And he was better in that game in the second half.
Oh, 100%. So it was like night and day.
Like, maybe he had his phone out at halftime and he was checking it.
But I hate that has to be it, right? Don't you have any personal pride? Don't you have any kind of focus? If you're Hassan Whiteside, this is a contract year. You're playing for your next deal. You're playing for the contract, the money you're making now. Go out and give effort.
In his defense, he's been banged up since he's gotten here, and he also turned things around, and maybe that's the moment that we look back on. I mean, he had finished with 17 and 19.
Right. And then today in the fourth quarter had a couple of big blocks, down the stretch that made sure kind of that the Blazers could at least get this game into overtime tonight. So, you know what? Hopefully he'll be better, but it might just be his personality. It might be his personality that either he needs somebody to really poke him, or he has to find the motivation from outside somewhere.
When they brought him here, it was a nice signing because his contract is a one-year deal. You can trade him at the trade deadline. You've got Zach Collins, right? Well, the problem now is with Collins out for the season, most likely, you're leaning on Whiteside. You're counting on a guy who has no proof of performance, and that is a scary position to be in if you're the Blazers.
And the spotlight is on him while guys are banged up like Scalabrine as well. I mean, this depth is really being challenged. Pau Gasol, we still haven't seen him play yet. Like, we're trying to find minutes wherever we can, but Hassan Whiteside has to be there and has to be accountable, as you mentioned. And I think that was one other thing that was really interesting about that Kenny Smith touched on in that halftime show, was that maybe it's not he's lazy or anything like that. Maybe it's just know-how. And that was something that he mentioned over and over. And Art, you mentioned some interesting points to that as well.
Right. One day we got to see a little bit more practice than we usually do. And Terry Stotts, he spent a lot of time with a lot of the guys, but at times he was having to move Hassan to the spot where he wanted him to be. It's a different system in Portland. They don't call plays and have you run those sets that way. It's a lot more intuitive than that. And it's probably going to take some time for him to get used to, really, this is what they're doing.